the monthly PCORE webinar. This is part of the Near West Side Partners weekly webinar. And as a reminder, PCORE stands for Patient-Centered Outcome Research for Employees of the Near West Side. So we're very glad you're able to join us, and we will get started. And I will hit my button. Go next. Okay, there we go. Near West Side partner updates. We are still crack-a-lackin'. Things are going on. Good stuff around the neighborhoods. We do have a couple fun events going on. We have a social media campaign, hashtag Near West Side Winter Wonderland. Take a picture of something that's outdoors and makes you happy, or even indoors. If you make it down to the skating rink, or see something decorated that you like, we'd love to have you post it on Facebook and hashtag it. And we're hoping we get some folks to do that, and you might win a prize. Next, tomorrow, Friday, we will be distributing a lot of donations of college of holiday decorations to our residents of College Court, and we're excited that we had 75 people enter to be part of that and spread some holiday cheer. We even had one person specifically ask for a tree, and guess what? We can accommodate that. So it's really nice to be able to make connections with all our neighbors, especially those in College Court, and many thanks to the Dollar General Tree for their support in making this happen. The other holiday cheer we got flying around is you can be entered to win a gift card of $25 by texting us at 484848. If you're already on our text list, you should be getting notices, so don't forget to go ahead and text back and you will be entered to win. And I'm just noticing I have a typo in my little flyer. So this is going on, started Monday, it will end December 23rd. And it's the weekdays, not the weekends. But go ahead and give that a text, and we will be looking forward to giving everybody a gift card of $25. That's 6 winners per day. As you are driving around looking for great pictures to take to put in our hashtag campaign, take a look up on Wisconsin Avenue. There we have the new Near West Side banners with the side banner of the neighborhood, and those went up about a week ago. Keep your eyes peeled. You will be seeing more of the these banners throughout the neighborhood. So we're excited about that happening. It's kind of been long in the waiting, so good stuff. This past month, the beginning of the month, was Giving Tuesday. It was a very successful campaign for the Near West Side Partners. We are very thankful for all the folks that took time to contribute and help keep our organization thriving. And we need it now more than ever, as all our neighbors and organizations do. Then we do have coming in spring 2021, a beautiful new sign from the Voices of the City project. The team from 26th Street project made that beautiful sign, and it was originally placed at the original location of the Voices of the City, 27th in Wisconsin, and we will be relocating it to its new home. So we're looking forward to having that bright banner on the corner of 35th and Straight, and we look forward to seeing a lot of good changes coming through the neighborhood with the Choice Neighborhood Action activities. Next, we still got some illness going on, so I want everyone to make sure to be safe. Not only is there the COVID, there's also flu. It's never too late to get a flu shot, so be sure and get in. The general rule of thumb is wear your mask, stay distant, wash your hands, keep your surfaces clean, and if you don't feel good, just stay home and potentially get yourself tested. So it sounds like we're looking forward to being healthier next year and can't ask for anything more than that right now. Our guests today are 2 directors from the Small Business Development Center, and they have put together a manual to help small businesses during this time of crisis. And they will explain a little bit more about why and how, but I'm very excited to share a pre-recorded video with you that was very informative and just a gem to have within our community and the whole state of Wisconsin. So please take time to watch this and then check their website out. So we are going to hope I can get this done right. I'm going to hit next slide. We are going to hit, let's see, did I hit optimize? I'm going to go back because I'm afraid I didn't. Okay, I didn't. So this is worth it. Yay. The small things. Okay, there we go. Now we're ready to roll, people. Okay. Let's go. I am happy to introduce our speakers, and I just hit that button wrong. Cheryl Mitchell and Michelle Soames-Boyer. They are from the Small Business Development Center of Milwaukee and Madison and Wisconsin. You guys really kind of spread yourselves out. So a lot to explain there, but we're excited to have you. And I would like to introduce both of you. Hello, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
Cheryl, and I'd say when I was reading these bios, the state hires some big guns. You guys, I have some impressive resumes. So it's pretty neat to see. And then just again, that this opportunity is available to so many businesses with such great expertise. But Cheryl is the center leader here in Milwaukee, and she has a bachelor's of business administration at Finance and Investment and Banking from UW-Madison. And then her other degree is a master in business administration and strategy from MIT Sloan School of Management. So very impressive, as I just said. And Michelle, she also holds a bachelor's in business administration and management and interpersonal communication. And her MBA is from Central Michigan. So as I said, we got a lot of good talent in your organization. Thank you for joining us. And I'm going to flip us to another, we're in present mode. And I should, let's make sure I do this right so we get you all. Okay, there we go. Okay, so Cheryl, you're our center leader here in Milwaukee. Tell us more about the Sbdc.
Well, the Sbdc is actually a nationwide network, but with Wisconsin, we're located at almost all of the UW system campuses to leverage what the campuses can offer to the community. So you don't need to come to us to get a degree. We're here to help you start, manage, and grow your business. So everybody is eligible. There are a couple businesses that we call the sin businesses that we don't work on. But otherwise, we're here to help you, as I mentioned, start, manage, and grow, but also I consider transition. Some people want to buy a business or sell a business, but all aspects that you're looking for, we have experts all around the state to help you. Even if I'm not your particular person, like I don't know anything about semiconductors, but I can find somebody who does. So whatever you're working on, we're here to help you figure out how to hire people, fire people, work on your finances, your sales and marketing, just about anything you can think of. We have people to help you get that done.
Question that really wasn't on our list, but how long has Sbdc been active in Wisconsin?
Well, active in Wisconsin, you'll see we're on the logo, we're celebrating 40 years. Sbdc was actually a Wisconsin idea. The former governor and Senator Gaylord Nelson forced the legislation to create what's now known as Sbdc. So actually our state was, I think, the fourth state to actually get going, but other, I would guess, iterations of what Sbdc became was already in Wisconsin for many years before that.
Neat. Okay, thanks for letting us know about that. Well, we have this crazy crisis going on, and
yes,
it sounds like you two put your heads together and came up with a plan. What can you tell us about what transpired and how it all came about?
Well, I think Michelle can give you more details about how she got the guide together, but we all recognize that businesses were struggling with what to do. There's so many questions about, you know, what if I have to lay my employees off? Do I furlough them? You know, how do I keep the lights on? If the governor puts forth a mandate that we have to close down, what happens? And people were kind of walking around wondering, what do I do? And so Michelle took the lead to figure out, let's tell them what they should do.
Yeah. Michelle, can you share a little bit about the what you did and the resources available to all businesses, whether established or new?
Sure. So like Cheryl said, you know, we were here as a resource right when all this broke, and we were helping people on an individual basis and as part of our statewide network. When we got a little further removed from the initial months, which were very crazy, we sat down and we said, boy, what people really need is a way to refocus and start thinking about how do they move forward, knowing that things are going to be difficult and different for quite some time. So in our center, we set out to look at all of the different resource guides that there were. And the problem was there are plenty of them, and we found several of them, but they all start with a phrase similar to this. So you've had a hurricane, so you've had a flood, so you've had a fire. They're heavily focused on event-based disasters. And with the pandemic, that's not the way this is working. We've seen ebbs and flows, we've seen spikes and waves, and which you're operating, and then there's closures. This is different. And we just felt that there were certain special things that needed to be addressed that weren't being addressed in those other guides. So we said, well, what does the Small Business Development Center program really do well? We help people with planning. So how can we create something that focuses our clients and small businesses back on planning and roots them back into planning so that they can make the best decisions for their businesses, not only today, but tomorrow and then into the future.
Wow, nice. Is there anything specific in the guide that a business might want to use, or is it something that they can pull out and dust off later? How can they use that tool?
Yeah, so let me step back a second and say, we've had some people say to us, why bother doing planning at this time when everything's so chaotic? Why bother? And I like to see Cheryl shaking her head up and down, because this is a common question that we've gotten, right? And one of the things that we do is we compare this guide to like having a first aid kit in your house. Everybody's got a first aid kit in their house, and what you put in there were items that you thought you'd need in case there was an emergency. There may be Band-Aids and antibiotic ointment and a ACE bandage, or any of these sorts of things. And what we're saying with this guide is it's very similar in that there are sections that cover all aspects of your business, so you can fill it out today and return to it as the crisis kind of unfolds and evolves. Much like you always know where that first aid kit is, you know where to go to and where to get help if you need it. Sometimes the first aid kit has everything you need in it, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you need more help, and that's much like the guide. Sometimes the guide will help answer your questions, and sometimes the guide will help direct you into new places to get answers. So.
Great. Well, thank you. As we're talking about that, I'm going to switch slides here, and we have an example of that document if you would like to walk us through that a little bit.
Absolutely. So the guide is, first of all, it's no cost to you. We created this guide and used some of the funding that we got through the CARES Act to design it and to be able to give it out for free. It's also available in English and in Spanish. So the website that you see on the slide is where you go to download it. Once you download the guide, you'll notice that it's divided into 3 sections. The 3 sections are there to provide some structure. There is no wrong way to use the guide. So, if you're the kind of person that likes to jump around a little bit, that's okay. We want to have some flexibility for you to be able to do that. If you're the kind of person that needs to start in one place and go all the way through and finish something, that's okay too. So we wanted to make sure that it met the needs of everyone that downloaded it. So each section covers 6 topical areas that are available for review. We thought that it was important that we touch on these key areas because we wanted to make sure that we didn't leave anything out, right? So there's a section on financials, operations, employees, customers or your market, products and services, and then lastly, leadership. So in each one of the 3 sections, you'll see each of these subtopics that will be addressed. Just a word about leadership here. This is a test. This COVID business environment is a test of your leadership. And we felt that it was really important for you to be able to take some time to examine the way you're leading your business and responding. A lot of the guides lack that section in particular, so we wanted to make sure that we were addressing it. So the three sections of the guide are React, Reevaluate, and Refocus. So in the React section, we're asking you to review what you did in the early days of the pandemic. This section is full of checklists, and you can see by the pictures on the slide here that we've tried to think of absolutely everything we could so that you can read through those lists and just check what applies. Cheryl, I think you would agree with me that we have a lot of clients that really don't remember what happened in March and April.
I have a trouble remembering what happened in March. We want people to truly think about it and reorient themselves, because a lot has happened in these past 6 to 9 months, but it's important to track that so you can make the right decisions to move forward. You don't want to make a decision in a vacuum.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this says tons of lists. And, you know, in the finance section, for example, it may say one of the first things I did was called my bank, or I called my accountant, or I, you know, I reviewed my books. I made sure I had a line of credit. What we're telling you in this section is check what applies, but don't beat yourself up if there's something on that list that you didn't do. It's okay. We'd wanted to have an exhaustive list so you could say, yes, these are all the things that I could do. At the end of that, each of the 6 functional areas, there's a little reflection box, and we ask you some questions. So you have a chance to do some journaling and write some narratives. Overwhelmingly, what we're hearing in response to this section is people are feeling surprised at all the things that they did. Good. And really having a chance to spend some time and reflect has been an overwhelmingly positive experience for the people that have gone through the guide. A lot of folks feel badly about maybe laying somebody off, or having to close down for a period of time, or were very worried about their finances, and they weren't at all reflecting on the really great decisions that they made, you know, the things that are keeping them alive and open as a business today. So that's the first section. Then we transition into the second section, which is called Reevaluate. In this section, we are having you revisit best practices. So in each one of those 6 functional areas, so let's say it's marketing, we're going to have you do some reading and reflecting around key questions you should be asking. You know, so tell me about your target market. You know, who are they? How do you identify them? For some folks, this is simply a revisiting of something they've done in the past. For other people, you may have never written a business plan or even thought about these things. So we wanted to root you back in that best practice. We include a link to a website which contains articles for extra learning. So, you know, if there's a topic there that you think, well, I don't really know anything about this, where do I go to find information? You can link back out and do extra reading. If you're comfortable with it, you can just stay with it and move on. This is an important thing to do, because what we want you to think about is, what should we be doing in a business? And then it would be real easy to say all of our customers have stayed the same. But if you don't systematically go through and start thinking about who is my target market and what happened and how do I reach them, you may be missing the fact that your customers' lives have changed. You know, I mean, if your customers are used to coming into your store and they aren't going out anymore in the way that they were, you need to rethink what you're doing. So we're rooting you back in that section. From there, we're going to ask you to tell me, what are the areas that I want to work on. So you'll go through and you'll read the lists, and you'll do some selecting, and then when you're finished with the section, you'll say, okay, of all of the things I just thought about, what are the 3, 4, 5 things I might want to work on? And they're divided up into 2 categories: actions and ideas. So you may put something on there that says, you know, I need to upgrade my software. That's an action, right? I can go in and make an upgrade, no problem. Or you may have an idea that says, you know, I need to really explore some new vendors. You know, I'm not getting my supply chain is broken down a little bit, and I'm not really sure who I would go. That's an idea. It's going to take further thought, more research, maybe some assistance from your Small Business Development Center. That's an idea. The reason we have you delineate between the 2 is because it's the time that it takes. If we just had you put them in a straight list, you'd say, oh, great, I got a list of 4 things to do. Let's go. I'll go take care of it. Well, if it's not an action item, you know, I may have to spend some brain time just thinking about it. I may have to do some research. So we're asking you to identify, is it an action or is it an idea? And then we're asking you to put a timeline in. So we're saying, is this something you need to do right now? Less than 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And that sort of 30 day, 60 day, 90 day thinking is where we want your head to be right now. And the last few months is a really good example of that. If you were planning back in the summer for exactly how everything was going to go in December, you probably would have been wrong, right? So if we can start thinking in a rolling basis, that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
The third section is called Refocus, and then this section is where, so now we've visited the past, we've revisited the best practices, we've sort of identified some things we want to work on. Now we're going to hone that in and narrow it down to a reasonable number of things that you can do. So the first step in that section is for you to identify the strengths of your company and your weaknesses. So I'm sure, I bet you see this too. A lot of people are real quick to come up with their weaknesses, but have a hard time identifying that their strengths.
Absolutely, because I'll give you an example. One of my clients needed to make some personnel changes in the middle of all of this. Some people quit, someone moved away, and she didn't realize she knew exactly who she needed, but she was talking about everything but exactly what she needed. So I was like, wait a minute, why are you doing this? It's a coping mechanism. It's not over what happened of having people leave, the business closing a bit, now it's opening back up, how we're going to social distance. And I said, whoa, don't overwhelm yourself. You know who you need. Let's put that out there. So going through the exercise of identifying the key characteristics she needed for another employee to fill the role that she had open, cleared away all the clutter of, oh my God, I can't believe we have to, reduce our capacity by 50%. I said, let's not worry about that. Let's worry about finding the people who can help you sell your product and service and keep going in your business. So all this is really helpful to people to clear the clutter and focus on what's important.
Yeah. And clearly for the client you're talking about, one of her strengths was she knew, right? Like she had a clear vision and she understood that. She had the ability to make a decision. So we're just asking you to, write down those things you're really good at. I'm really good at connecting with my customers. I'm really good at working with my with my employees. Then we're also going to ask you to talk about some of your weaknesses, but we're asking you to do this in a certain way. We're asking you to put them in a bucket. So we're saying to you, what are the weaknesses that something is a problem for your business, the solution, and you're just not doing it. What is that one? Because that's something we can address, right? So that might be an example of that might be, I know I'm not very good at looking at my financials. I know the solution is I need to get a bookkeeper and I just haven't done it. That would go in one column. And then the other column would be, I have a weakness, but I don't know the solution. I may or may not have resources to fix it. And that's a little bit, more cloudy out there. So I mean, it might be something like, I know that there's a market out there, but I have a hard time assessing whether or not I should spend the money. I'm not sure how to solve those problems. I have a hard time making that kind of decision. Okay, that needs to go in that other one. Okay, so that's the first step in this refocus area. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to that middle section, and you're going to have a list, if you go through each section, of probably 30 items. There's no way you can work on 30 items right now. Nobody has the mental capacity for that. Even if you have a large staff and can delegate, it's still hard. So we're going to ask you to go back and look at that section and say, what are my priorities? And narrow that down to 10 to 12 items. And again, they're going to be labeled as action or idea, right? And they're going to be labeled with the time. Is it a 30, a 60, a 90 day kind of progress? And then we're going to ask you to apply that strengths and weaknesses filter. So you're going to look at that list and you're going to say, do I have a strength that will help me achieve this goal? Or do I have a weakness that's going to trip me up? And if I have a weakness that's going to trip me up and it's in that first column that I just need to get it done, maybe that becomes a goal. Maybe that's the thing I work on first. I hire that bookkeeper, and then I can go and work on whatever this other goal is. And then what I would say the last section, the last step in this section, which I'm going to call this your A+ extra credit move, is is you go ahead and you make these into SMART goals.
Mhm.
And so SMART goals is just a simple acronym that allows us to really understand all of the aspects of the goal. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. So I'm just going to put some extra work around each one of those goals. So that's how the guides, set out to be used. Will the guide give you every answer you need? No. But the guide will help you organize your thoughts, clear the clutter, as Cheryl said. That's a great way to think of it. It'll help you stay on track. It will root you in one place with your ideas and your thoughts. But we also don't want to add to your work list and make you overwhelmed. So if what helps you is that checklist in the first section, then that's great. If understanding best practices in that second section is what really does it for you, that's great. If you need help doing, working through this guide or doing certain sections, that's what we're here for as the SBDC. You can reach out and say to a consultant, ask for a consultant to help you, hold you accountable for this. So we've had over 450 people download the guide so far, and and it's available to anyone at no cost, like I said, in both Spanish and English. So we would just encourage you to download it and take a peek at it. If it's a fillable PDF, so you can work with it right on your computer, or if you're somebody who likes to handwrite things, print it out.
And Cheryl, we touched upon yesterday that this is a free tool. It's downloadable. And one of the things that is helpful for you right now is not sharing with all your friends, which is not because it's not a great tool, but you got funded through the CARES Act to be able to put this together. And it's important that those metrics, that folks hit your website and are able to download it. Can you speak a little more to that?
Yeah, it's really important that, one, from a tracking perspective of, we want to know who's accessing this so we can understand who needs the assistance, who is most interested, what are they trying to accomplish, and how can we reach out to them. But on the flip side, it is tracking later, how have we been able to impact these businesses? Because I can tell you, one of my clients that downloaded this, he was at this place where he had hit this revenue plateau. Then the pandemic happens. And then he calls me, he goes, Cheryl, I really need to do something differently. I said, oh, so are we going to work on what we talked about before? He said, I now understand what you were telling me. And then he confessed something that I didn't pick up on. He said, Cheryl, I was just afraid of moving forward with working on the business, not in it. Because it was easy for him to do the work of the business. But I kept explaining to him, in order for you to grow, to go above this revenue target, you got to start hiring some people. And I said, just because you hire them doesn't mean you're now on the hook for, I'm making this up, $100,000 in salary for somebody. It just means now you can go and sign the business that you haven't been able to sign. Because people were calling him, the pandemic really had very little to affect on who was calling him, but it was the size of the jobs that had changed. So there's a lot of little jobs. And I said, you can't do all these little jobs on your own. You can handle the big ones, but the little ones, you need a staff of people who can take that work on part-time and handle it for you. So going through this guide of helping you understand, you know how to sell, you know how to market yourself, you just don't yet know how to take yourself out of the day-to-day, put people on that, and then move things forward. So what will happen from this is, if my prediction is right, we'll see an increase in revenue for him. We'll see an increase in jobs that he's created. And we might see an increase in capital infusion, meaning he probably needs a debt or equity infusion in order to buy the additional equipment or to have the working capital to pay additional people. So by virtue of him seeing this opportunity to look at his business differently, working on it versus in it, he now is kind of free, what it can, a swarm of locusts or whatever. He's ready.
Fun. So in that also, I wanted to touch upon most your services are free. Are there any, your consulting, tell us a little more about those services?
Yeah, so our consulting is provided through your tax dollars. So we are supported through the SBA. So Congress appropriates money to SBA, SBA appropriates money to Sbdc. So everyone's supporting us. Our one-on-one consulting is no cost to you. If you choose to take some classes, there are a few out there that do carry a nominal fee to cover our instruction and our materials costs. But for the most part, working with one-on-one, you can work with us as much or as little as you like. My rule is make progress. That's not a rule for Sbdc. I just ask people to understand this is not therapy. Oriented.
Sort of.
Yeah, right? For you
during COVID, it's all different now, but yes, sort of.
But for you to say to me, Cheryl, I can't get above this revenue target, we can talk about why, what's behind that. But when then we come up with some action steps to get you beyond whatever the mindset is that's keeping you in that place, so you can achieve the goals that you want. But the no cost feature of it, I think it surprises a lot of people. Like, wait a minute, I can come to you how much I want and you're not going to charge me? No, we're not.
That's
we
amazing.
want to be able to provide you this service because we want to see more small businesses start. We want to see more jobs created. We want to see more jobs retained. We want to see the economy thrive no matter what's happening in the world.
Yeah, and thank you. And that's why we wanted you here, because we know we have a lot of businesses here in the near west side and Milwaukee in the state that do need support and just to continue to make it through this time. So we're so glad you have been able to make it. The other little quick touch point is we talked about federal funding yesterday. Is there anything left? What's coming? Can you just touch upon and help that be clear for all our small businesses because they're confused?
Well, one resource that people can look to, continuously want to find out is covid.sb, meaning smallbusiness.org. That's the SBA's website to talk about all things COVID. So if there's anything happening with funding there, they will post it there. But for the most part, federal funds have been spent, not entirely, but the programs that were assigned to help small businesses get started, those are over. Congress is contemplating more funding, so we'll see what they decide to do. The state of Wisconsin also has additional funding, like WDC just announced the Wisconsin We're All In for restaurants. So if you are in that category, there may be some money coming to you to help you weather the storm of capacity reductions and things like that. For other businesses, I think it's important to connect with your local Sbdc office or even call the SBA and find out what else might exist in your county, your city, or the state that might be able to help you. But for now, because it's the end of the year, end of the calendar year, many things are over, but there may be more things happening in the new year.
Good. Well, thank you for clarifying that because that's been a challenge. Well, we like to end on a positive note, and I will let you two thumb wrestle over who shares the stories. Tell us some successes. Is small business growing during COVID? What's going on in that area?
Well, I can tell you I've had a few clients that are absolutely thriving. And some of them are food restaurant clients.
Wow.
One of my clients, his best month ever, and he's been in business over 3 years, was June of this year. Who would have thought that? The reason he was successful is not because it was June, is because back in March, he thought about, what am I going to do? Because he said, I got to feed my family. I've got employees that need to be paid so they can feed their families. What can I do? So he pivots all the time to how to make sure he's reaching his market. And when I talked to some other clients about similar things that they could do, I noticed that the cloud of depression is a bit over them. Like, I don't know if I can do that. And I tell them, if he can, you can, because he's no better than you, no worse than you. But he just made a decision. I'm going to figure out a way to be resilient. And so my message to my clients is, we may not have the exact answer when we brainstorm, but you got to be willing to try things. Be open to what could come forth. Because this client was trying to get him to do more catering jobs. In March, he had lined up catering business that was going to take his restaurant to another place. Well, those all evaporated. So instead of saying, oh my God, what am I going to do? He figured out what to do. And so I want people to know there's a way. I believe you can make money in any economy. We just need to sit down and figure it out.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you. And that's the
Absolutely.
nice inspirational way to end, that there is hope for all our businesses. And the other thing is we need to support them. So at the end of the day, don't forget to get out and support those small businesses, whether it's actually a pure donation or just dropping by and picking something up. Local is a strong part of our economy, and we need to keep it going.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for that. We appreciate
Oh.
that.
Well, it's one of my little passions, you can tell. I'm going shopping tomorrow.
You should, because most of these businesses, I think you're hit the nail on the head. They'd rather make money from you shopping with them than to receive a payout, because they don't know how long that payout will sustain them.
Okay.
But shop with them, you become a loyal customer, continue to buy, and that can keep them going. So absolutely support your local business wherever you can.
And and don't forget to post on your social media when you do that. Let your friends and family know that you've shopped at this particular place. And what I always tell people is be quick to write a good review and slow to write a bad review. Let a business owner make amends if something didn't go quite your way. But right now, especially, they need your support.
No doubt. I'm going to show our slide on how to get in touch with you, Cheryl, since you're our local contact.
Yes.
But we do hope that you will get a little uptick in business from here in the Near West side. And as we all know, I was going to, that it's important to shop small business, and we're very appreciative of your time and your talent and sharing that with us. I'm looking forward to getting this on the air and cascading it and sharing with the community, because with those little diamonds that are hidden in our community, it's great to be able to uncover them and share them.
Well, thanks, Barb. We really appreciate it. We really want people to know that we're here. We're a great resource, and we might not be that visible, but thanks to organizations like yours helping us be visible, hopefully more people will know that we exist and that we can help.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about. So again, thank you, and have a good afternoon, and we'll stay in touch.
Thank you so much.
Oops. Yeah. I am happy to introduce our speakers, and I just hit that button wrong.
Hey, peeps.
Cheryl Mitchell and
Well,
Michelle.
what am I doing here? Screen share. Let's hit stop. So sorry. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing now, but we will get this. Can I do that? It's live streaming. Share. Okay, here we are. When I was looking, there we go. So sorry, peeps. All these buttons, and I seem to get it wrong on a regular basis, which drives me nuts, but it is what it is. So I also did want to point out is I am happy to introduce our speakers, and I just hit that button wrong. Okay, we're gonna Cheryl Mitchell and Michelle. So I am happy to introduce our speakers, and I just hit that stop share. Okay, I'm afraid to move right now. Okay, we're gonna stop share. Okay, there we go, and we are gonna go back to the slides presentation. Here we go. It's there now, finally. Okay, thank you for your patience, everyone. I'm doing all sorts of funky stuff. So I was going to mention, okay, we're back in place. Okay, the webinar, as you can tell, there's still things that I think I'm doing right and don't necessarily do. So in the presentation mode, when we did go ahead and tape this, I thought we were full presentation mode with doing the speaker, and we weren't, but for sure the information remains as good as it was without having to see our faces. And there was a little bit of that goofy slide with their website, and that was just related to dumping one type of slide into another type. So it was PowerPoint to Google, so apologize for that. Next, we do want to let our community know we need some Near West Side employees. We are doing, as part of this PCORE project, which stands for Patient-Centered Outcome Research for employees of the Near West Side, we need employees to participate in this panel. So if you are interested, please let me know. You can reach me at pcore@nearwestsidepartners.org.
or you can call 933-0640. We're looking for folks to share their voice and help us understand how employees can be healthy in the workplace, and our business leaders can help that happen as well. So that's pretty neat stuff. And then questions, again, if you want to contact me directly or our two primary investigators, Dr. Dan Pinto and Dr. Abiola Keller, you are welcome to do that. Next month, we are kind of up in the air what we're going to do, in part because there's so much going on, but we may be talking about nutrition, and if we don't do it at the end of next month, we'll record it and make sure and get that done. And finally, the reason for the small business and PCORE, and you're talking about healthcare, what sense does that make? We brought this in because we need healthy businesses in the Near West Side and our state and nation. So it's really, really important that we disseminate as much information as we can to help support the employers and employees. You want a job to be successful. So we're very appreciative of our team from the Small Business Development Center, and you can go to our website and take a look with some of that information. Again, thanks so much. Have a fantastic day, and we'll talk to you next week with the Near West Side Partner Weekly Update. Thanks. Oh, so we have questions, right, Elizabeth? Stop share. Exit. Okay, let's go chat. Okay, I have questions. And we have a comment on Facebook that somebody wants the guide. Do they want to talk about where to get the guide? And we did that. So that question has been answered. Thank you. It is on the Small Business Development Center website, free. And we do want you to share with your friends and family because it's important and it's good information, but also try and get them to download themselves so the Sbdc can get credit for their job well done. And I think that's all my questions. Let's go back to the chat one more time. Nope, that's it. And we're good to go. So any questions, do check our website, check the Sbdc website, or feel free to contact me. Have a great afternoon. Thank you.